Alright, students, let's go ahead and now revise the next chapter. The next chapter is supply. Everyone over here now, we've started learning GST with goods or service. Goods or service has to be supplied because only if you are going ahead and falling in supply or your activity or transaction basically falls in the definition of supply, then GST can be levied. So now we are going to learn about the chapter of supply. Supply chapter, when you learn, supply has section number 7 and section number 8. Section number 7, let's go ahead and start. Section number 7, scope of supply. Section number 7, basically supply is the taxable event. Remember one thing, supply is the taxable event, the happening of which leads to GST being levied. Only if something is goods or service, GST can't be levied. Goods or service has to be supplied, only then GST will be levied. So supply section number 7, section number 7.1 goes ahead and says what are the things which are included in supply, what are the activities or transactions that will be included in supply. Then once some activity is supply, then section number 7.1a goes ahead and helps us to determine whether it is supply of goods or supply of service. Then if something is already falling in supply under section number 7.1, but still if government wants to exclude it, then government specifically says in section number 7.2. And then we have section number 7.3, which is one total bakwas section. Everyone just the power with the government to notify something as supply of goods and not supply of service, or supply of service and not supply of goods. Section number 7.1, when we go ahead and learn, section number 7.1 has section number 7.1a, which goes ahead and says that all forms of supply of goods, services, or both, whether you go ahead and call them such as, means it is only for example, whether you go ahead and call them sale, whether you go ahead and call them sub-transfer, whether you call them barter, that activity you are calling it as sale, transfer, barter, exchange, lease, rental, license, or disposal. STB, ELR, LD, sell, transfer, barter, exchange, lease, rental, license, or disposal. Whether you give any other name also, because they are telling such as, right everyone? So it should be a form of supply. It should be made or agreed to be made for a consideration. Remember one thing, it should be for a consideration, and it has to be in the course during the carrying out of my business, or for the furtherance. Furtherance means expansion, promotion, etc. of my business. Can I go ahead, everyone? Section number 7.1a says it should be a form for a consideration in the course of business, only then it's a supply. What do you mean by form? It has to be an activity for a consideration. Consideration can be in cash, kind, or it can be any act done by someone else also, right everyone? So sir, it has to be in the course of business, only then it will become supply. Now here we have one circular which is there on artwork sent for exhibition. That circular I've gone ahead and given down. Now sir, what is this circular telling? When you are sending the artwork to galleries for exhibition, at the time of sending, just a minute, at the time of sending the artwork to galleries for exhibition, at the time of sending, there is no consideration which has been fixed, and hence it is not a supply. But sir, when the buyer selects it, I had sent the painting for exhibition for displaying, and one buyer went ahead and told, I like it, I will go ahead and buy. So Baba, when the buyer selects it, at that time it's a sale for a consideration, and hence it will be a supply. So section number 7.1a simple goes ahead and says it should be a form of supply made or agreed to be made for a consideration in the course of business, only then it will be a supply. The next one we went ahead and learned section number 7.1AA, which goes ahead and says any person other than individual, if they are doing an activity with its member and that person will always be a separate person. And sir, when they are doing an activity with the members, or members are doing an activity with them, it can be for cash or any deferred payment, or it can be for any valuable consideration. It will always be falling in a definition of supply. So any activity or transaction done by the person other than individual with the members, or members doing an activity with them, it will always be a supply if done for a consideration. Baba, this was basically Kolkata Club Limited. Because of Kolkata Club Limited, the Supreme Court ka judgment when it came, after that this amendment had come, wherein they went ahead and told person other than individual and members will be treated as separate, and any activity between them will always be considered as supply. Supply of, if it is goods, then it is supply of goods. If it is service, then it is supply of service. Then we have the section number 7.1b, which goes ahead and talks about importation. Everyone, importation of services. Sir, first of all, what do you mean by importation of service? Supplies outside India, recipient is in India, place of supply is in India. Supplier is outside India, recipient is in India, place of supply is in India, then it's importation of service. If you go ahead and give any consideration, remember one thing, importation of service for a consideration, if it is business purpose also supply, non-business purpose also supply. But then business purpose ka case mein, always remember you are liable, business entity will be liable to pay tax under RCM. And whenever you are required to pay tax under RCM, business entity will take registration and pay the GST under RCM. But sir, in case of non-business purpose, non-business people, we will not go ahead and take registration and pay the GST. And hence government went ahead and told, although it was taxable, but we are going ahead and exempting. Remember one thing, this exemption will not apply. This exemption will not apply if it is OIDR service, online information database access and retrieval services provided from outside India to an NTOR. Basically, an NTOR over here, NTOR means any government, local authority, correct everyone, or any unregistered person who is taking OIDR service for non-business purpose. So government is telling whenever OIDR services are provided supposedly to an unregistered person for non-business purpose, this person will not pay GST. So OIDR, you are required to take compulsory registration as per section number 24 in India, collect the GST and pay the GST to the government under forward charge mechanism. So in case of OIDR services given to an NTR, always forward charge mechanism will come, OIDR will collect. So OIDR has to take registration in India, collect the GST and pay it to the government. Are we clear everyone? And OIDR registration, whenever it is supplying services to an NTO or basically to an unregistered person, government is telling you have to pay GST under forward charge mechanism. Can I go ahead everyone? And if the registration is compulsory registration. Section number 24 says registration is compulsory. You will collect the GST and pay to the government. The next one over here, section number 7(1)(c) goes ahead and says those activities which are told in Schedule 1 made or agreed to be made without consideration also will be considered as supply. The first activity over here, permanent transfer or disposal of business asset where the ITC has been availed on such asset. I bought thermometer and took the ITC and I went ahead and gave thermometers for free. Baba, remember, thermometers where have I taken the ITC? Yes, permanent transfer of business asset where ITC was availed on such asset. I availed the ITC also on thermometer and I gave free also thermometer. It will come over here in permanent transfer where ITC was availed on such asset. Remember this point everyone. Can I go ahead? I bought clothes, made shirt and gave shirt free. Then remember everyone, it will not fall under permanent transfer of business asset where ITC was availed on such asset. You gave free was shirt and took ITC on cloth. It will not be a supply. Are we clear everyone? Remember one thing, when outward is not a supply, ITC is always blocked. Can I go ahead everyone? The next one over here is one notification which goes ahead and says, sir, if you buy a car, you don't get credit. If you buy a car, you don't get credit. When you sell the car, for a consideration, when you sell the car for a consideration, you will not pay GST. Generally, you always pay GST on sale value for every item, but only in case of motor vehicle, which is basically car, government went ahead and told, marginal scheme will be available on sale of motor vehicle held as capital asset. So if in your business you are holding a capital asset, which is basically a car, and you go ahead and sell that car, marginal scheme will be available. You will be liable to pay GST only on the sale value minus the WDV. Sir, I'm not depreciating the car. Then in that scenario, selling price minus purchase price pay, you will have to go ahead and pay the GST. Are we clear with this point? So, sir, if depreciation is claimed, GST on selling price minus WDV. Sir, if depreciation is not claimed, GST on selling price minus purchase price. Remember one thing, if you buy a car, you don't get credit. Credit is blocked. Now, if you go ahead and sell that car, then marginal value pay, you'll have marginal amount pay, you'll have to pay GST, which is selling price minus WDV or selling price minus purchase price. But sir, if I go ahead and give the car for free, then it is permanent transfer of business asset. But since you did not take the ITC, Baba car pay, you don't get the ITC, so it will never be a supply at all and you will not have to pay GST. Everyone over here, remember one thing, the next one is supply between related person or distinct person in the course or furtherance of business. You will go ahead and tell me, what do you mean by related person everyone? Related person, scope plus family plus sole agent or distributor. Sir, what do you mean by scope? Scope means S for stock or shares greater than equal to 25% in both of them. C for control. C for control. A limited controlling B or B limited controlling A. Both are related person. If A limited controls B and C, then also B and C will become related. B and C controlling D, then also B and C becomes related person. Remember one thing, controlling each other, also related person. Both of them controlling, no, one person controlling two two companies supposingly, then both of them are related, both of them controlling someone else, then also these both will become related. Are we clear, everyone? Control can be a direct control or control can be a indirect control. Remember, in case of control, it is basically going ahead and talking about holding and subsidy. Can we go ahead, everyone? Then it talks about officer or director. C S. S for stock or shares greater than equal to 25%. C for control. C for control. And O for officer or director. I am a director in your company. You are a director in my company. We both will become related person. Officer directors of one another's business. P for partners. Partners in a firm are always related person. E for employer and employee. Employer and employee are always related person. And family is always Supreme Court. Remember, family is Supreme Court. Your spouse and children are always your related person. And sir, parents, grandparents, brother and sister, only if they are dependent on you, they are your related person. I hope everyone is clear. Everyone, listen to me very carefully. Whenever you are going in and supplying to a related person means scope plus family plus sole agent. S means shares greater than equal to 25% in both of them. Then Baba, remember, these two will become related person. I am holding in this, I am holding in this 25, 25. I will not become related to it, both of them, but both of them will become related. C for control, O for officer or director, P for partner, E for employer and employee are always related person. Family, Supreme Court, spouse and children, on dependent, independent, they are a related person. Parents, grandparents, brother, sister. Only if they are dependent, they are related. Independent, they are not related. E for okay. Family, we learned about it, and then the sole agent. So if you have a sole agent, or our sole means one agent across India, or a sole distributor, or sole trading right holder is there someone. Any transaction between both of you, he is your related person. Everyone remember one thing: if supply between related person or distinct person. What do you mean by distinct person? As told in section number 25, 4 and 5. Section number 25, 4 and 5 says same state, separate registration, distinct person. Under my pen, two registration, distinct person. One state registered, another state also registered, distinct person. One state registered, another state not registered also, then also distinct person. They are telling if there is any supply between related person or distinct person in the course of your business, then always remember it will be what, everyone? Supply. Can I go ahead, everyone? But here one exception is there. When you are giving gift to your employees up to 50,000, up to 50,000 per annum per employee, it shall not be a supply. Are we clear, everyone? Gift to employee per annum per employee. Sir, up to 50,000 it is not a supply. You will not get ITC also. More than 50,000 it will be a supply. Giving gift to your employee, you will get ITC also. Can we go ahead, everyone? Everyone over here. Then there is a circular relating to interstate movement of conveyances. Remember, interstate movement of conveyances or cranes between distinct person. Baba, interstate movement of conveyances and crane between distinct person. Baba, it has been clarified that on conveyance, rigs, crane, etc., which is going between two distinct person, crane is not being supplied. Conveyance is not being supplied. It will be neither supply of goods nor supply of service. But sir, one distinct person say another distinct person, who if any repair and maintenance services are provided, that crane is not supplied. But have we gone ahead and provided some services? Yes. On repair and maintenance services work, GST will come. And always remember, if the movement is for further supply, then GST will always be levied. Supposingly, Tata's went ahead and made a truck in the factory in Maharashtra and sent the truck to the showroom in Karnataka, then Baba, it is two distinct person may, and for them the truck is not a truck, it is not a conveyance, it is goods over there, and hence always GST will be levied. Can we go ahead, everyone? The next one over here is the third one, which goes ahead and talks about supply of goods between principal and agent, or agent and principal. Always remember one thing: which kind of agent is covered? Who issues the invoice in further in his name, or buys the goods in his name. So if I'm an agent, principal is over here, I'm an agent, I'm selling the goods in my name, further supply ka invoice is in my name, or when I buy and send the goods to the principal, the invoice of buying is in my name, then always remember, principal sending me the goods or I sending the goods to the principal. So principal sends the goods, I supply the goods in my invoice, then Baba, I am an agent as per 7.1c. Principal sending me the goods as per section number 7.1c is supply. I bought the goods in my name and I send the goods to the principal. Sending of goods to the principal, because the buying invoice was in my name, this will also be a supply. That is what is being told. And then they are going ahead and telling refer circular on principal and agent. I have gone ahead and told over here scope of principal and agent relationship. Always remember, agent is further supplying in his name, or agent is procuring in his name, then Baba, this kind of agents will always be covered as an agent under section number 7.1c. And when the agent co-principal is sending or agent is going ahead and sending the goods to a principal, this will always be covered under section number 71C, and it will be a supply even without consideration. Are you guys able to connect? Can I go ahead, everyone? The next one over here is section number 71C may, the fourth one, which is there, importation of service. Always remember one thing, importation. What is it? Supply is outside India, recipient is in India, place of supply is in India. Importation of service you do from related person. Related person, scope plus family plus sole agent or own establishment which is outside India. If you go ahead and do the importation in the course of furtherance of business, always remember it is going to be a supply. Four things, everyone. Importation of service from related person on establishment in the course of business without consideration also will be considered as supply. I went ahead and told you about section number 71A, section number 71B, and section number 71C. Section number 71A, all forms for a consideration in the course of business. Right, everyone? AA, person other than individual members के साथ activity will always be a supply if for a consideration. Section number 71, AA done. B, importation of service, business, non-business for a consideration will always be a supply. Section number 71 says schedule 1 ka 4 activities. Right, everyone? 4 activities: permanent transfer of business asset where ITC has been availed on such asset, supply between related person or distinct person. Third one, everyone, principal and agent or agent to principal, where agent is further selling or buying in his name. And the last one, everyone, importation of service from related person own establishment without consideration but in the course of business. Are we 100% clear? The next one is section number 71A, supply of goods or supply of service. They go ahead and say if any activity is falling in section number 71A, AA, B or C, then you further should go ahead and see in section number 71A whether it is supply of goods or supply of service. Section number 71A goes ahead and says please refer to schedule 2. In schedule 2 it is told whether it is supply of goods or supply of service. When you go ahead and refer to schedule 2, in schedule 2 the first one goes ahead and talks about transfer. If transfer of title is happening, means if you are transferring the ownership in the goods, then it is always supply of goods. If you go ahead and transfer the right in the goods or any undivided share, then it is always a supply of service. If you go ahead and transfer the title in future, today the person is given, future may transfer of ownership will happen. Basically, it's a higher purchase transaction. Always remember, it is always a supply of goods. Then the next one over here is any paragraph number 2 of schedule 2 goes ahead and says any lease, tenancy, easement to occupy land is always supply of service. Lease, letting out of building is always a supply of service. And then we had one circular which was on Pagdi system. Refer circular on Pagdi system. Baba, Pagdi system means what? If I give my tenancy right against tenancy premium, it is a supply of service. Always remember, anyone giving tenancy right against tenancy premium is always a supply of service. Remember one thing, if you are going ahead and giving it for what? Residential property, it will always be exempted. Although supply of service, but because you are giving tenancy right for residential property, it will be exempted. And sir, when the person whom I have gone ahead and given the tenancy right, he is leaving the property and going, when he sells the tenancy right, remember one thing, he sells back or he sells it to someone else. Baba, outgoing tenant is selling it to someone else who is incoming for a consideration, always GST will come. In that scenario, GST will not be exempted. But remember, when the owner sells the residential property ka tenancy right against tenancy premium, that is a supply of service which is exempted. Sir, now monthly rent is being paid by anyone for residential property. Monthly rents are always exempt if it is for residential property. Commercial property ka case mein there is no exemption, always taxable. Are we clear, everyone? Can I go ahead? Always remember, giving of tenancy right against tenancy premium, which is the Pagdi amount, it is always exempted. No, it's a supply of service. If it is for residential property, it is always exempted. Can I go ahead? When the outgoing tenant sells it further or he surrenders his back, Baba, remember the outgoing tenant is doing business in the tenancy right. That is supply of service and it is also taxable. It is not exempt. However, monthly rents which are paid for residential property, that will be exempt. If it is for commercial property, everything is always taxable. Can we go ahead, everyone? People, recall, can we go ahead? The next one over here. Now, the next one over here is treatment or process on another person's good. If I go ahead and do any treatment or process on your goods, I'm going ahead and giving you a supply of service. Remember one thing, there are two circulars on rethreading or bus bodybuilding. I've gone ahead and given the circular over here. Rethreading of tire. If I do rethreading activity for you, means your tire pay, I do the rethreading and give it back to you. Even though I use material also at the time of rethreading, it will always be treatment or process on your goods, which will be a supply of service. But sir, if I am go ahead and sell rethreaded tire, I bought tires from the market, rethreaded them, and I'm selling rethreaded tire. Bye bye. I'm doing an activity on my own goods and then selling it. That will always be a supply of goods. The next example over here is bus bodybuilding ka example, fabrication. If one person gives me the chassis of the bus and I do the fabrication, I am doing an activity which is on your goods. Then my activity will be a treatment or process on your goods, which will always be a supply of service. However, if I am going ahead and having my own chassis and I do the fabrication and sell the bus, selling of bus will always be a supply of goods. The next one over here now. Transfer of business asset. Remember one thing, permanent transfer of your business asset. Remember, whenever something falls in schedule 2, first of all, it should be a supply. Only then you will see supply of goods or supply of service. Now, over here is treatment of transfer of business asset. Remember, permanent transfer or disposal of business asset is always a supply of goods. So, temporarily, if I go ahead and transfer or put to private use, then always remember it is always supply of service. Sir, at the time of closure, when I take all the assets home, remember at the time of closure, if you are going ahead and taking all your assets home, then Baba, it will always be a supply of goods. But remember, if you go ahead and close your business and transfer the business to someone as going concern, transfer of business as going concern is exempted. You are transferring all your assets, you are transferring all your liabilities. Now this transferee will take registration, he will collect the GST and pay to the government, and hence you transferring the assets and liability with GST will not come. Also, your ITC can be transferred to the transferee, that you will see in your chapter of ITC. Are we clear, everyone? So whenever I am closing my business and I transfer the business to the transferee will take registration, collect the GST and pay, and hence government says business transferred as going concern, or you transfer to a representative who is a taxable person. In that scenario, you transferring the assets and liability with GST will not come, because transferee will be made liable to take registration under section number 23. He will collect the GST and pay it to the government. Are we clear? Also, you will see in your ITC chapter that transferor ka ITC can be transferred to the transferee. The ITC also will get transferred. Everyone over here, supply of service. Paragraph number 5 says renting of immovable property. Whenever you rent out your immovable property or doing a construction of a complex or building where 1 rupee is also received before completion certificate or first occupancy, whichever is earlier, then always it's a construction. Can I go ahead, everyone? And construction is always a supply of service. The next one is temporary use of IPR. If I go ahead and give my intellectual property right to someone for use temporarily, always it is what, everyone? Supply of service. Development, upgradation of IT software is always supply of service. Agreeing to the obligation to refrain, tolerate, or to do an act. If I agree to the obligation, I agree, and then there should be a consideration. If I agree to do an act for you, agree to refrain, that I will not do this, or I agree to the obligation to tolerate an act or situation, always remember one thing: refrain, tolerate, or to do an act is always supply of service. And there's a circular on liquidated damages which have come, which is there in the next page. GST on liquidated damage, compensation, and penalty arising out of breach of contract and other provision of law. Actually, this refrain, tolerate, or do an act pay. Lot of confusions were there. People were going in and asking to the government, please clarify, what do you mean by that, agreeing to the obligation to refrain, tolerate, or to do an act? So, Baba, the particular situations which were being told by the people, government have gone ahead and told over here. Government told agreeing to refrain or tolerate or to do an act. First of all, you should agree, and for that consideration should have followed, and then it will always be a supply of service, because first of all it should fall in section number 7(1) a b a b c, anywhere, only then you can go ahead and say it is supply of goods or supply of service. So they went ahead and told, first of all you should have agreed with someone, and Baba, there should be a consideration. Only consideration coming if you have not gone ahead and done something, means you have not done quid pro quo, then Baba, it will never be a supply. Can I go ahead, everyone? Now, particular situations have been taken. Number 1, liquidated damages. Baba, what do you mean by liquidated damage? If I had to go ahead and supply you something, supposingly by 31st December, if I don't go ahead and supply, you might suffer some loss. Are we clear, everyone? So it goes ahead and says, whenever anybody pays liquidated damage to another person, the other person has not done an agreement that I agree that you supply me the goods late and I will have some loss which you go ahead and give. No, the liquidated damage are put in an agreement. So that you don't go ahead and delay, so that you are scared. Are we clear? It does not mean that I agree to tolerate, and hence they are not the desired outcome of a contract. It is only a compensation for injury suffered due to breach of contract. They are mere flow of money and do not constitute consideration and not taxable. Liquidated damage, whenever I go ahead and receive, I have not agreed that I am agreeing to tolerate an act. I am agreeing to tolerate you not supplying on time. No, it is not that agreement. Whenever you receive liquidated damage, remember one thing, it is not taxable. Can we go ahead, everyone? The next one, check dishonor fine. Government went ahead and told, Baba, a person who takes check dishonor ka fine, I will never take a check so that it get dishonored. I never will agree to the obligation that okay, you are giving a check will get dishonored and I'll charge you this much. No, there is the supplier never does such kind of an agreement to deposit fake check against a consideration or penalty. Whenever I receive any consideration or penalty because your check got dishonored, Baba, it is not for a service and not taxable. The next one over here is penalty for violation of law. Baba, laws are not framed to so that government is telling you, you don't wear an helmet, I'll take this much amount. Did the government say that? Baba, illegal agreements can't be done. Laws are not framed for tolerating their violation. There is no agreement between government and the violator that such violation is allowed against a penalty and hence not taxable. Forfeiture of salary or payment of bond in the event of employee leaving before minimum agreed period. Everyone over here, whenever the employer puts in a bond that if you leave before 6 months you have to pay this amount, that is just to thus to deter such situation, because I don't want people to leave. It is not that I have made an agreement that you leave within 6 months and you should pay this much. No, it is just so that non-serious people don't join, and hence whenever I receive that bond amount or any penalty amount, that is not because I have gone ahead and done any supply. It says over here, provision of feature is incorporated to discourage non-serious candidate to take up employment. It is not a consideration for tolerating the act of premature quitting and hence not taxable. The next one is late payment or such what surcharge which is there or fees which is there. For if you go ahead and make the payment of electricity bill late or might be telephone bill late, what government went ahead and clarified over here, this facility is granted by supplier which are naturally bundled. These are naturally bundled supply with the principal supply, and it will be taxed at the rate of principal supply. So if supposingly I am giving telephone connection and telephone connection ke liye I am receiving 1000 and 100 rupees I have taken late fee, that is a natural bundle which is there, and government says in that scenario the late fee etc which is collected will be assessed at the rate of principal supply. Remember fixed charges for electricity. Now, whenever any fixed charges for electricity are taken and you have not utilized the minimum electricity also, Baba, fixed charges taken for electricity are not because I am tolerating your act of not using the minimum electricity also. Remember, the minimum fixed charges are for sale of electricity and are not taxable. Why, sir? Because electricity is anyways exempted from GST. The next one is cancellation charges. Again, flight companies, hotel companies, etc. go ahead and give charge cancellation charges. Cancellation charges, services of allowing cancellation against cancellation charge is a natural bundle along with the principal supply, and it will be always taxable at the rate of principal supply. Remember one thing, agreeing to the obligation to refrain, tolerate or to do an act. First of all, there has to be an agreement and consideration should have followed. Mere flow of consideration when there is nothing in return, mere flow of an amount when there is nothing in return. Remember, when there is an amount which has come and nothing in return is there is no quid pro quo, and you can go ahead and call it a supply. The next one over here is transferring of right to use. Always remember, is always a supply of service. The next paragraph is paragraph number 6 of Schedule 2, which goes ahead and says, following composite supply is always a supply of service. Works contract is always in relation to immovable property. Remember, construction, fabrication, erection, installation in respect of a immovable property always is what everyone? Works contract, and works contract is always a supply of service. Restaurant and catering is also always a supply of service. Section number 7.1a, we learned all forms for a consideration in the course of business. A, we learned person other than individual with their members. B, we learned importation of service. C, we learned schedule 1. If an activity is over here, then we see whether supply of goods or supply of service. Now, even if an activity falls in section, Baba, if an activity does not fall in 7.1 A, B or C, it is not a supply. But even if an activity falls in section number 7.1 A, B or C, even if it falls there as supply, if government writes it in section number 7.2, then it will be neither supply of goods nor supply of service. Section number 7.2 has section number 7.2a and section number 7.2b. Section number 7.2a may government went ahead and told those activities which are told in schedule 3 will be neither supply of goods nor supply of service. The first activity is employee is doing an activity for the employer, and employer goes ahead and gives what? Salary, perquisites, etc. That will always be neither supply of goods or nor supply of service. Remember, employee to employer services in the course or in relation to employment is always neither supply of goods nor supply of service. Perquisites ke liye one circular had come. Baba sir, perquisites, always remember one thing. Perquisites provided by employer to employee, perquisites which are provided by employer to employee. Perquisites provided in terms of contractual agreement between the employer and employee. Always there will be no GST. So employee work for the employer. Employer gave some perquisite. But those perquisites, if they are as per the contractual agreement, then it will always be neither supply of goods nor supply of service. Can we go ahead? Sir, employer went ahead and gave employee some gift because employee is giving services. But those gift, again, gift given by employer to employee. If it is up to 50,000 per annum per employee, then it will not be a supply. If it is not supply, no ITC. But if employer gives some gift to the employee and if it is more than 50,000, it will be a supply. Total amount will come under supply. Then employer will get ITC also. Can we go ahead, everyone? I linked your schedule 1 with the schedule 3 wala supply. Can I go ahead, everyone? Everyone over here now. The next one over here. The next one is section number 7 to A. First paragraph, schedule 3 ka first paragraph done. Second paragraph, services by court, tribunal which are established under law. Baba, all these services given by the court or tribunal for which the court or tribunal is going ahead and taking a fees. Baba, first one you remember, no? First one I linked this with what? Schedule 3 ka this exception. Can I go ahead, everyone? Now, everyone over here. The second one is court or tribunal ka services. Court or tribunal ka services are neither supply of goods nor supply of service. Which tribunal? Court or which tribunal? Which are established under law. The next one over here is refer circular on CDRCs. Baba, remember one thing, Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission. Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, CDRCs. They are not tribunal, but they are like tribunal only. And Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, whenever they are giving any services for which they are taking their fees, or if by chance they are going in and taking any penalty, always remember that will be neither supply of goods nor supply of service. It says they are not literally tribunal, but have the characteristic of tribunal. Hence, fees paid by litigant, penalty charged, or any amount paid to Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, there will be no GST. Everyone over here. The next one over here is services performed by 3 people. They have gone ahead and told services performed by MPs, MLA, MLCs, etc. But they are not employees. MP, MLA का services पे there will be no GST. The next one is duties performed by constitutional post holder like President of India, Prime Minister of India, Controller and Auditor General of India. They are giving their services to Constitution and Constitution pays them salaries, etc. Their services also neither supply of goods nor supply of service. The next one over here is duties performed by chairperson, member or director, CMD of a body which has been established by the government. Now, that chairperson, member or director, if he is an employee of the body, then Baba, employer-employee relationship, neither supply of goods nor supply of service. But if they are not employee, then also chairperson, member and director ka services are being exempted over here. I call them as government officials. Can I go ahead, everyone? Services of mortuary, burial, funeral. Always remember mortuary, burial, funeral ka services pe there is no GST, including transportation of the deceased. Transportation can happen by air, rail, road, anything. Can I go ahead, everyone? The next one over here, but it should be transportation of the deceased. Government is telling one person has gone, we'll let him go in peace. Will not go ahead and charge any GST on transportation, mortuary, burial or funeral ka services. The next one is sale of land and completed building. Sale of land and completed building. Completed building means where entire consideration should be received after completion certificate of first occupancy. Whichever is earlier ka means whichever is earlier, after that basically entire consideration should be received. Only then it is sale of completed building. Sale of land, so neither supply of goods nor supply of service. Completed building. Can we go ahead, everyone? The next one over here is one, Baba, if it is not completed building and you go ahead and sell, the entire contract will come under construction, supply of service. Entire contract with GST will come. When registering, stamp duty also will come. Everyone over here. Refer a circular on sale of land after labeling. I have gone ahead and told whether you sell land, that is also neither supply of goods nor supply of service. Labeled land, cutting out plots, etc., lying down the drainage pipeline and selling it, then also it's a sale of land and neither supply of goods nor supply of service. But remember one thing, if I am the developer who develops the land, for development, whatever services I take, that person, road roller ka services, lying down of pipeline related service, those services pe GST will come. When I sell the land, that is neither supply of goods nor supply of service. Can I go ahead, everyone? The next one over here. Actionable claim. Remember, all actionable claims are goods, but all actionable claims are not supply of goods. Actionable claims are neither supply of goods nor supply of service, other than lottery, betting and gambling. Only lottery, betting and gambling ka whenever sale will happen, the GST will come. Other than that, Any actionable claim, neither supply of goods nor supply of service. The next one is supply of goods from non-taxable territory to another non-taxable territory without the goods entering into India. China says, supposingly I send the goods directly to US, I issued the invoice, Baba, that is one goods going from one country, one non-taxable territory to another non-taxable territory without the goods being entered into India. And Baba, that is also known as supply of goods from non-taxable territory to another non-taxable territory without the goods entering into India, and hence it will be neither supply of goods nor supply of service. The next one is high sea sale. Baba, the goods have left from US port, it is coming in the high seas, or Baba, it has reached the port and I have received my bill of lading and I transferred the bill of lading to someone else. Now that person, when he goes to clear the goods under Custom Act along with the custom duty, that person will pay GST. But when I sell the bill of lading, when I give the bill of lading to that person, that is known as high sea sale. That is known as high sea sale, on which I will not be required to pay any GST under GST Act. But sir, when that person goes to collect the goods at under Customs Act, custom duty will come. Along with that, IGST also will be collected. Sir, bond to bond transfer, my goods have come to the custom port. I have the bill of lading. I transferred my goods to the warehouse. Baba, that sale of warehouse goods, if I go ahead and transfer the bill of lading to someone, that person will now go and clear the goods from the custom ka warehouse. So when the goods were in the custom warehouse, if I sell the goods to someone else, that is also known as what, everyone? Bond to bond transfer. And bond to bond transfer under GST, there will be no GST. Can I go ahead, everyone? Then we have section number 7. 2 ka B point, which says activities or transaction undertaken by central government, state government, if they are undertaking as public authorities and that activity is notified by the government on recommendation of council, then also it is neither supply of goods nor supply of service. Remember one thing, sir, how will we remember 7.2a schedule 3? Bench flag. Remember bench flag. Sir, what is bench flag, everyone? B for bond to bond transfer, E for employer to employee, N for entity to entity without goods entry into India, C for court or tribunal ka service which are established under law, H for high sea sale, F for funeral burial ka services, L for land and completed building ka sale, A for actionable claim other than lottery betting and gambling, and G for government official. What are the government official, everyone? MP, MLAs ka services, constitutional post holder, or if there is CMD who is not of a government body where he is not an employee. Section number 7.2, B went ahead and told, if central government, state government, local authority is doing an activity as public authority, if that activity is notified, then that will also be neither supply of goods nor supply of service. Activities, 2 activities are notified. Number 1 is panchayat or municipality going ahead and doing those activities which are under 243G and W. Panchayat doing those activities which are told under 243G, and municipality doing those activities which are told under 243W, then that activity also neither supply of goods. Activities in entrusted to panchayat and municipality. Municipality M ka ulta is W, so 243W is always for municipality. And always remember, if state government is applying alcoholic liquor license, again license fees or application fees, remember one thing, that is also neither supply of goods nor supply of service. Then we have one circular which is over here, circular on grant of license fees and other privileges. Everyone over here. Grant of other licenses and privileges by the government except alcoholic liquor license. Remember, only alcoholic liquor license government is telling when I am going ahead and giving, that is neither supply of goods nor supply of service. What about other licenses? They told grant of other licenses, privileges, mining rights against consideration in the form of royalty. When government gives you other privileges, etc., only state government giving alcoholic liquor license, when the license fees is taken, there is no GST. It is neither supply of goods nor supply of service. Any other, remember, any other privileges, license fees, etc., government clarified, Baba, that pay GST will come. It is not out of GST. Can we go ahead, everyone? Then we have section number 7.3, which goes ahead and says government has the power that government wants. Then government can go ahead and say something as supply of goods. If government says it as supply of goods, then it will never be supply of service. If government wants, government can say something as supply of service, and if government says that as supply of service, it will never be supply of goods. That is the power under section number 7.3. Everyone tell me one thing. What did we learn in section number 7? What did we learn in section number 7 till now? I went in and told you section number 7.1. A, all forms for a consideration in the course of business. I went in and told you person other than individual doing an activity with the members, or members doing an activity without with consideration, it will be a supply. Section number 7.1b, importation of service. For consideration, business, non-business, both will be considered as supply. Then we move to section number 7.1c, without consideration also 4 activities which are told in schedule 1. Schedule 1 ka 4 activities also what will happen everyone? Without consideration also it will be considered as supply. Then we had section number 71A, sir, supply of goods or supply of service. Then we move to section number 72A, bench flag, neither supply of goods nor supply of service. B, I went ahead and told you central government, state government activities which are basically notified activity will be neither supply of goods nor supply of service. First one everyone. First one, first activity, which one did I tell you? Panchayat or municipality ka functions which are under 243 GNW. Second one, sir, grant of alcoholic liquor license. Baba, grant of alcoholic liquor license only neither supply of goods nor supply of service. Other licenses, GST will be applicable. Clear? Now, in the supply ka chapter, the next section which we have is section number 8. Baba, section number 8 goes ahead and talks about taxability of composite supply and mixed supply. Listen to me very carefully. But before we go ahead and talk about the taxability, first of all, we should know what is a composite supply and what is a mixed supply. Sir, what is a composite supply? Composite supply means two or more taxable supply which are naturally bundled. They are supplied together in the ordinary course of business. And Baba, one is a principal supply. One should be a principal supply. Then we can go ahead and call it a composite supply. Composite supply ka taxability, section number 8 A goes ahead and says, section number 8A says, composite supply always treat as supply of that supply which is the principal supply. Are we clear? It will be treated whenever there is a composite supply being supplied, then it will be treated that it is the supply of that supply which is the principal supply. Then the next one over here is mixed supply, two or more individual supplies, you have joined them together and you have supplied for a single price and it is not a composite supply, then it's a mixed supply. And always remember one thing, mixed supply will always be treated as supply of that supply which attracts what everyone? Highest rate as per section number 8B. So people, section number 8 has section number 8A which says composite supply, please treat as supply of that supply which is the principal supply. Right everyone? It will be it will be treated as supply of the principal supply. And mixed supply always treat as supply of that supply which attracts highest rate. Can we go ahead everyone? Now, when you read composite supply and mixed supply, there are two circulars which I have gone ahead and given. Let's see. Servicing of cars. Supposing you went to get your car serviced and they told parts ke liye will charge this much rate and we will go ahead and charge for the servicing. The labor ke liye will charge this much rate. Always remember, these are two separate supplies. These are two separate supplies. Parts ke liye they are charging you separate rate. Servicing ke liye they are charging you separate rate. So always remember one thing. Servicing of car where supply of goods or supply of service and the value of goods and services are shown separately. Always remember it will be liable at the rate as applicable to such goods and services separately. The next one over here is taxability of printing contract. So if I go ahead, it says over here in case of printing contract where the content is being supplied by the person who owns the IPR. I own the IPR of my book. I went ahead and gave the content to my printer. Printer went ahead and gave me printing service also. He gave me paper, ink, etc. also. Principally, while physical input, including paper, etc., belongs to the printer, principally he is given me what? Printing service, which is a supply of service. Are we clear, everyone? Sir, however, if it's a service, supposingly I went ahead and told, if it's a goods, supposingly I went ahead and told someone to supply me printed envelope. When they are giving me printed envelope, I told them to print my logo also and gave. Sir, here logo printing was ancillary. Principally, it was a supply of goods and hence it will be a supply of goods. Remember one thing, if somebody you have given your IPR and he's printing that and giving it to you, Baba, he is giving you principally printing service and ancillary is the paper, ink, etc. And hence it will be a supply of goods service. Supply of service always, sorry, supply of service, which is printing service. But sir, if I tell someone that I want carton boxes, that person is principally giving me carton boxes and ancillary services, he prints my logo and gives, then in that scenario, it will always be a supply of goods. Are we clear with this point, everyone? Yes, sir. Point is clear. The next point over here is taxability of cost petroleum. Sir, what is the cost petroleum? Always remember one thing. In this scenario, always remember, sir, what is cost petroleum? What is profit petroleum? Supposingly, we have government over here. I'll quickly tell you. We have government over here. And supposingly, this is Reliance over here. Reliance went to the government and told, sir, can you go ahead and give me the license to go ahead and explore oil? So Reliance went ahead and explored the oil over here. There was an oil field over here and hence Reliance put the pipeline and explored the oil and oil came out. Now, per annum, supposingly, value of petroleum which they have gone ahead and produced is 1000 crore ka value of petroleum which they have gone ahead and produced. Out of this, always remember, whenever a person who has been given a license to go ahead and explore mineral oil, basically petroleum, etc. Whenever a government gives the license, this person can first go ahead and deduct his cost. Whatever was his cost of going ahead and exploring the oil. Supposingly to explore the oil, he had gone ahead and spent 200 crore. Then he will go ahead and deduct that 200 crore from here. This is known as cost petroleum. Are we clear, everyone? The amount of petroleum which I am allowed to retain for recovering my cost is known as cost petroleum, and the remaining amount of petroleum which remains is known as profit petroleum. Are we clear, everyone? Now, I am liable to go ahead and pay royalty also to the government, and I am liable to pay cost. I am liable to pay a share of the profit petroleum also. For an example, me and government, we had a production sharing contract that whatever I produce, out of that first I will deduct all my cost. Cost means exploration cost, right, everyone? Whatever exploring ka cost, etc. is there, royalty, etc. I paid to the government, everything I will deduct, and remaining amount we will share among ourselves. So remaining amount I'll go ahead and give it to the, might be whatever is the remaining 800 crore. If I've agreed that, sir, I will go ahead and give you 400 crore, that production sharing contract will be there with the government. So over here I will go ahead and give profit petroleum to the government. Are we clear, everyone? Here the question which was raised was, sir, government has given Reliance cost petroleum 200 crore rupees ka cost petroleum. Has Reliance given any service to the government for which government has given him cost petroleum? No, sir. Reliance is not going ahead, or the licensee is not giving any services to the government for which government has given him cost petroleum or 200 crore rupees ka petroleum worth. Government have told you keep it. No, I am going ahead and doing exploration activity. I am doing exploration activity for myself, and whatever is the cost, I am just keeping, and remaining amount we are dividing among ourselves. So here what is happening, government is going ahead and just giving you the license to go ahead and explore the oil, and you are going ahead and giving consideration which is nothing other than royalty and profit petroleum. Are we clear, everyone? Government is the licensor, you are the licensee, and in return for giving of the license, it's a service given by the government to you, and in return you are giving government royalty, and you are giving what, everyone? Profit petroleum. Remember one thing, royalty pe to you will be liable to pay GST, but profit petroleum pe GST has been exempted. Are we clear, everyone? That is the same thing which has been told over here. Taxability of cost petroleum. Sir, in production sharing contract, central government licenses to explore or mine petroleum crude or natural gas in consideration for profit petroleum. What we give, everyone? We give royalty also, and we give profit petroleum also, which is exempted from GST. And always remember one thing, cost petroleum is not a consideration which the government has given me because I have provided the service to the government. I have not done any exploration activity for the government. I am doing the exploration activity for myself, and cost petroleum is being retained by me for what? For recovering my cost. And hence, cost petroleum is not a consideration received by the contractor for services provided to the government, and hence it is not taxable. Always remember one thing, cost petroleum is not taxable. I am not provided any service to the government for which government gave me this cost petroleum. Are we clear? Secondly, government has given me the license, and I am given in return what? Royalty. Royalty pay GST will come, but profit petroleum which I am going ahead and giving, that will be exempted. Are we clear, everyone? Can we go ahead? The next one over here is treatment of sales promotion scheme under GST. Sir, goods, services or both supplied free of cost or as gift. Always remember one thing, goods, services or both supplied free of cost or as gift. For an example, I went ahead and bought some item. I went ahead and bought one thermometer, and I gave the thermometer only free. Always remember one thing, I had taken the ITC on the thermometer. It's a permanent transfer of business asset on which I had taken the ITC, and 71C may it is supply. If it is supply, ITC will be allowed. I bought clothes. Clothes I made shirt. I gave the shirt free. It is permanent transfer of business asset. But did I take the ITC on shirt? I took the ITC on cloth, and hence it is not a supply. If it is not a supply, GST will not come. ITC also will be blocked. The same thing is told over here. If activity falls in 71C, it's a supply. ITC will be available. Otherwise, ITC shall be blocked. The next one is buy one get one free. Always remember one thing, buy one get one, the other one is not free. So if I buy input service and capital goods, what the officer went ahead and told is, one pay you are charging GST, one pay you are not charging GST. So the one you are charging GST, relating to that I will give you ITC. The one which you are giving free, I will not give you the ITC. So proportionate ITC I will not give you with respect to your input service and capital goods. Government went in and told, hey officer, open your eyes and see. It's just fooling the customer wala technique. Here two goods are supplied at the price of one. All the input tax credit with respect to input service and capital goods will be allowed. It's like two supplied at the price of one. ITC of input service and capital goods will be allowed to the supplier. The next one is GST on display of name or nameplate of donor by charitable organization. What is it telling over here? If there is a charitable organization and supposingly I've gone ahead and donated 10 lakh rupees over there and I've not asked anything in return, what they have done is they have just put my nameplate over there saying donated by Ramesh in the memory of his ex-girlfriend. Baba, only for classroom purpose. Okay, everyone. In the memory of his ex-girlfriend, he donated 10 lakh rupees. Baba, it's a gratitude service which Ramesh had gone ahead and provided. He has not gone. Have they given me any service? No. But supposingly I went ahead and gave them 10 lakh rupees and they have put, I have told them to put donated by Ramesh and Co. Chartered Accountants, Bangalore. Then have they given me advertisement service? In that scenario, GST will come on the service. But sir, unless there is a quid pro quo, if I give them 10 lakh rupees and they have just put my nameplate saying donated by Ramesh Soni, in that scenario, they have not advertised any business for me. And when they are not giving me anything, GST is on a service. And when there is no quid pro quo, there will be no GST. Are we clear, everyone? So it says three tests to be fulfilled. Donation is made to a charitable organization. Payment has the characteristic of gift or donation. The purpose is philanthropic. It is for welfare. And sir, it is not advertisement. Then there will be no GST. It should not be advertisement. So you gave me 10 lakh rupees. I'm a charitable organization. I've just put your name plate. I've not advertised anything for you. I've not given you anything. Any service is not given. Then there will be no supply. But you gave me 10 lakh rupees. I advertise your business. Donated by Venki in the memory of someone. Then it is not a service given by me, but sir, donated by Venkatesh and Co. Chartered Accountant, Bangalore. Then I have gone ahead and given you a service and GST will come. The next one over here is taxability. People got it? Taxability, taxable services provided by member of the joint venture to the joint venture and vice versa. Always remember one thing, supposing there is a joint venture which has been created by you. What happened over here? This is the operating member of the joint venture. These are the other members of the joint venture. All of them contributed, supposingly to the joint venture, 100 crore rupees in the bank account of the joint venture. They made how much, everyone? 400 crore rupees. Out of that, they went ahead and bought one machine, and machine say they went ahead and did oil exploration, etc. Oil exploration say they made profit, and profit was being distributed among all these members. Remember one thing, over everyone. In this scenario, the operating member made a cash call saying, everyone please give 100 crore rupees. Now, when everyone gave 100 crore rupees, this is nothing other than capital contribution. There is no services which are provided by the operating member to the other members and all. He is just working on behalf of what? The joint venture. And in this scenario, whatever the amount has been given to the joint venture is nothing other than what, everyone? Capital contribution. That is what is being told over here. Cash call received by the operating member is just a transaction in money. There is no supply and no GST. Are we clear, everyone? But supposingly, I am running my own firm over here. I have my own firm which is there. I have bought a machine in my firm. Now, supposing there is A, there is B and C. And they went ahead and told, let's do a joint venture together. Let's do a joint venture together. You use your machine, you use your machine, do the oil exploration activity, and you make some profit. Whatever is the profit, you go ahead and distribute it to us. We'll go ahead and we all will distribute among ourselves. But tell me one thing, has A, B and C asked him to go ahead and do some service? They have gone ahead and told, on behalf of all of us, you do the oil exploration using your machine. So I had my own machine. I did the oil exploration on behalf of all of them. So basically, don't you think I have gone ahead and provided them service? And might be they will go ahead and give me some money. Yes or no? I told them, hey, give me 100 crore rupees because I am going to do oil exploration on your behalf. So don't you think I have gone ahead and provided them service, and in return I am taking consideration? Remember one thing, in this scenario, they are going ahead and telling cash call received as consideration for a service, and it will be a supply of service and GST will come. I hope everybody is clear with this point. I have gone ahead and discussed your complete chapter of supply over here. Supply mein what did we learn, everyone? Supply section number 7.1a, all forms. AA, person other than individual giving services, doing an activity with their members, or members doing an activity with them for a consideration. 7.1b, importation of service, business, non-business. Both will be considered as supply. Then, sir, section number 71C, four activities told in schedule 1 without consideration also will be considered as supply. Then we learn section number 71A, supply of goods versus supply of service. Then section number 72A, bench flag and central government, state government activities as public authorities. And if those activities are notified, two activities are notified. Section number 73 is just the power with the government. Then we learned about section number 8, composite supply, always treat as supply of principal supply, mixed supply, always treat as highest rate. Always treat as supply of that supply which attracts highest rate. Baba, I have given you all the circulars also in this chapter. In this chapter, in my opinion, a student should not leave anything and go. It's a very, very important chapter, A graded chapter, Baba. A graded chapter. You must do everything and go for your exam. Right, everyone? I'll go ahead and close all my discussion on the chapter of supply. Congratulations, people.